for me, it's like I really want to help other women be successful. And one of the things I realize is that we can all make that impact on our passion, no matter where we are. We can make an impact in our careers, through our careers. We can make it through our time, our hobbies. We can do a lot of things.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Joy, for letting me interview you here on the HiredUp podcast. I am super excited to kind of hear your story. Pure Culture Beauty reached out to me and I really fell in love with the brand. And I absolutely loved how you also reached out to me too after posting about Pure Culture Beauty. So I'm really excited to talk to you today.
Yes, thank you for having me on the show today or in the podcast. Looking forward to sharing a little bit about my story as well.
Absolutely. So just to jump in, I guess kind of walk me through your background a little bit. Have you always been in the beauty industry?
I've been in the consumer goods industry
for
about 30 years, and my last 15 has been in beauty.
Oh, wow.
And I ran two other companies in the past in the beauty. One is, I think you're familiar, called Yes to Carrots.
Yeah, very cool. Yep, very familiar, and I use their products too.
Oh, good. Great.
Yeah.
So I took that from a very tiny little business to, it's now have distribution in a lot of places, and grew really their business from like probably 5 SKUs, 5 products to like probably over 50 or 60 products.
Wow. So did you say that you were a founder in Yes To? Or were you?
I was actually the CEO for.
Okay.
It was founded by 2 other gentlemen, and I came in and joined them.
Very exciting. Yeah, I love that brand.
Oh, good.
Very cool.
And then the second brand is called H2O Plus Beauty.
Yep. Very familiar with that too.
Good. That brand started about 30 years ago by a woman. It's a woman founder, Cindy Milk. And since then, she sold the business to a Japanese company. And I came in and helped them with the business and turned them into a clean beauty company.
Wow. So I guess your background or maybe your passion is in clean beauty?
Yes. I think it goes back to, kind of why Pure Culture was even created. I suffered from really bad acne when I was much younger. I feel like there's a lot of people that suffer from some sort of skin condition.
Absolutely.
And I also, when you are a teenager, that's the worst time to have like acne on top of all that. And I remember always like trying to cover it up, right? Cover up the scars or cover up the part about your skin that's not really accepted by the society.
Right.
And I realized how bad it was for my skin because I didn't realize it back then, because I was much younger, that by covering up, it actually ended up clogging more of my pores.
Yep.
Right. And it just kind of became a little bit of a fulfilling prophecy for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, given my experience, I was really determined when we were to create Pure Culture that I want people to feel comfortable in their own skin. Like, to me, it was really important that everybody has beauty in their skin in whatever we were given, and that we should be proud of it. And it shouldn't be something that we have to cover up. And so when I created Pure Culture Beauty, that has to be one of the most important things, is how do we ensure that, people feel comfortable and appreciate the skin that they're given.
Exactly. And I think we're also in a time too where it's kind of a shift from makeup to skincare. Like people want to have really great skin, not just makeup to cover up their skin. And I think skincare is being put at the forefront for a lot of these women too.
Yeah, and I'm happy to see that slowly the society is also opening up to that, and
Yeah,
there's been a lot of great women that have really started that trend of not cover up.
exactly. And you're seeing that more and more on social platforms like Instagram and stuff. And I love to see that. And I'm sure you probably do as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I want people to feel like it's okay, and there's beauty behind all of us,
Right.
and we should just celebrate what we have.
Right. So you have always been a skincare enthusiast since you were little, it sounds like. So when did the idea for Pure Culture Beauty come around?
Probably about a couple of years ago. I met my partner, Victor Caselli.
Mm-hmm.
He was the chief chemist for MAC Cosmetics.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So he and I partnered up, and I met him through a really good girlfriend of mine. And so she's the one who actually put us together.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I feel like behind every good man is a great woman.
Right. Exactly. That's so cool. So whenever you guys met, did you guys just hit it off and you kind of told him your idea for Pure Culture Beauty?
Yeah. I feel like we had a lot in common, and we really felt that there was a lot about the industry, the beauty industry, that we both feel very passionate about. And one of them is, just providing people with skin health. Right.
Yeah.
And I think from his experience and mine, so many people don't understand their skin. Right.
Right.
And you can't give people good products if their knowledge about the skin is not correct. And
Right.
so, doing the quizzes, asking people to self-report is a great idea, but that will assume that everybody knows already about their skin. And we know 75% of people are wrong about even their skin type.
Yeah.
And so with people not knowing, then it's really hard to find the right products for them. And so with Pure Culture, we start with the customer. We start with the understanding of their skin, and then also be able to, educate the customer about their skin. So that's why we have this at-home skin test, which you also went through and did the test for.
I did. And I absolutely loved that because, like you said, a lot of people, don't really know their skin too well, or if they think they do, they might be wrong. And I was in that category of I thought I knew my skin and I was a little bit off. So for our listeners tuning in and listening to this, Pure Culture Beauty is a skincare brand that is all customized skincare based on each person's needs. So you send a at-home skincare test, and I believe it was a skin barrier test. And then there was one other test. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. So skin condition, which is
skin
really
condition.
Yeah. So the skin barrier test is really trying to test kind of your pH of your skin. Right. And that gives us usually a good signal of the health of your skin. And then the other one around skin condition is we're measuring kind of oil production. Mm-hmm. To better understand what type of skin you have. And so the combination of the two tests plus some of the questions we ask you is how we formulate and customize the products for you. And the products have a cleanser. We have a serum only offering, but we also have an offering where we provide a 3-step process, which includes a cleanser, a moisturizer, and a serum.
Okay, I like that. Very cool. So whenever you met with your co-founder, Victor, I believe his name was?
Yes.
So did you already have the idea of I want customized skincare by the time you met him? Or once you guys got together and kind of talked about Pure Culture Beauty, did that idea kind of come later in the process?
No, I think I already knew it had to
Yeah.
be customized. It's
Yeah.
because of, all the experience and all the challenges I've had,
Right.
as a customer.
Gotcha. So what has been maybe one of the most challenging parts of creating this brand?
It's never easy to create any brand, but it was the most challenging because we did it during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a time I remember maybe a year ago, it's probably in March last year, Victor and I looked at each other and we're like, should we do this now? We're about to lock down.
Right.
And I think both of us felt really committed to wanting to do this during the pandemic because we also know that that's when everybody needs it the most.
Right.
Because nobody can go to a store, talk to anyone.
Exactly.
There are no choices. And so we thought that this is going to be much more helpful if we could get it out there so that it could be something that's an alternative for people. It was really challenging because, even though Victor and I have been in the industry for a long time and we have a lot of relationships, but it was really tough to kind of navigate all the shutdowns across the world.
Right.
Like where to get our stuff, where do I get a bottle? There have been many pivots that we had to make. We ended up sourcing everything in the US and in Canada, close by, because we were really worried about the global economy in the East. But if we look back now, I think we made the right decision.
Yeah.
To do it close by and also do it in the countries that I think we have, that we can manage the quality.
Right. So when did you guys officially launch Pure Culture Beauty?
We launched back in mid-September of 2020.
Gotcha. Okay. So you guys are still pretty new.
Yeah, we're super new. And we're excited from some of the feedback we've gotten. So, and you're one of them where, we've gotten really great feedback. Feedback is great. It's a gift. So, either good or bad has been wonderful in terms of feedback for us.
So with COVID and everything like that, did y'all find it hard because I know that you said that you were, kind of struggling, where do you get your bottles and stuff like that? Did you struggle with fulfilling orders in the beginning or anything like that? Or was it maybe the exact opposite since, everyone's home and they're on their phones? Was it just kind of like a flip of a switch and you had orders coming in, or what was that process like for you guys launching during COVID?
Yeah, good question. It was really hard for us. So for instance, we kind of know the lead times it's actually the sourcing of the items that was the toughest.
Okay.
So the fulfilling aspect of it wasn't as difficult, but we have a lot of customization in our process. So that piece, we've gotten it down pretty well when we launched. Right. But it was actually getting the products, getting the bottles, getting, the pumps, getting the ingredients.
Yeah, I would imagine that was probably a huge struggle in the beginning, just trying to source your materials.
Yeah, because, a lot of the factories and all of the things were closed. Yeah. So we were really trying to juggle, where do we get them? And I really wanted to do a color bottle, and our bottle right now is white. And that's one of the decisions we had to make early on was in order for us to launch at a time where it's going to be helpful for people in the pandemic, we had to shortcut a couple of decisions and repivot,
Right.
our decisions.
Yeah, totally understandable. So I want to pivot a little bit and kind of talk about hiring, because HiredUp, if you're not familiar with us yet, we are a hiring app that is video based. So a company can go on and post a job, and they can show day in the life of their company or show their company culture through company videos. They can video their staff meetings. They can video just kind of the behind the scenes of what their company looks like. And then a candidate can go on and then they can see these videos, they can apply, and they apply in a video form themselves. So how many employees does Pure Culture Beauty have?
We don't have that many. We have less than 10.
Okay.
So we have a very small team.
When it comes to hiring, what is, for people listening in, maybe the number one thing that you look for in an employee whenever you're hiring for a position?
Yeah. I think that my principle has always been, or my philosophy of hiring is, I really look for fit. For me, culture fit is the most important when it comes to hiring an employee.
Mm-hmm.
There are many very talented and skilled people out there. And so I'm not worried ever about them being skilled. And I also feel like I can always teach them the skill, right?
We talk a lot about this.
Yeah. But you really can't ever teach a fit in a culture. And I guess, let me maybe expand a little bit about what I mean by that. I think it's really important that someone have the values of the company,
Yes.
And for Pure Culture, our values are pretty simple. Like, we want it to be candid. We want there to be candor. And these are values that we hold not within our culture, but also with our customers. They don't have to be different.
Right.
And so candor and transparency to both Victor and I are really critical. Like, we can't move a business further, or we can't move a customer further in our experience unless we're open to speaking about what's really matters, right? So that's really important. I think, building a journey with someone, and I really believe that, having employees cannot be just a transaction, right? You're committed, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a commitment you're making both ways. And so I think that having that as a huge value for us is really important. So I think that the fit and having an employee that, values those as much as we value those pieces of our value for the company, it's really important.
I couldn't agree more. And we talk a lot about this here at HiredUp too. Skills are teachable. If someone doesn't have, exactly all the skills, you can get them up to speed. But a culture fit is number one, we think, whenever hiring, because you can't exactly teach that.
Yeah. And what's worse actually is when it only takes one person on the team to not have the culture fit, and it could really actually end up hurting the entire culture of the company. It's amazing how one person could do that.
Yeah. Just infiltrate the whole entire team and, kind of disrupt that whole balance.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. What are some ways that you guys at Pure Culture Beauty set your culture? How do people know what your culture is and kind of what to expect? Because I think a lot of companies out there really struggle with their company culture and really kind of setting the standards and paving the way for their employees.
I think it really goes back to you have to walk the talk, right? And it's really hard to even explain how to like infiltrate and build a culture, because so much of, I think, what we do every day and how, Victor and I are leaders or co-founders, have to walk the talk every day, and I think that's what gets infiltrated to other people that's on our team. It goes back to every decision we make, for the customer, for whatever the business decision is. All those decisions have to be still grounded back to the values of the company.
I agree. For our listeners out there, if someone is struggling to find their passion, for you found your passion for skincare really young. But if someone is out there and struggling to kind of find their passion or kind of their next steps, what is some advice that you would give them?
My one advice is don't give up. Never give up on not finding your passion. And actually, I want to let you know what my passion is. Actually, it's I love skincare. I'm a little obsessed with skincare, but I would say that my passion is really the women's platform.
Really, I love that.
And supporting women. And that's always been my biggest platform. And I realized that actually later on in my career. I don't think I realized that until probably about 10 or 15 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. And it's, for me, it's like I really want to help other women be successful. And one of the things I realized is that we can all make that impact on our passion, no matter where we are. We can make an impact in our careers, through our careers. We can make it through our time, our hobbies. We can do a lot of things. But the first thing is just finding out what you're passionate about. Because I am passionate about the women's platform. When I was at Yes2, when the company I joined had 80% women, 80% men.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And by the time I was there, probably the year or two afterwards, we were the other way. It was 80% women and 20% men.
Well, and it's a little crazy to think, because you would think, in a female-dominated space like this, like skincare, it would naturally be the other way around. You wouldn't think that you would necessarily need to champion that, but that's really inspiring to hear that you did.
And that was important to me. It was important to me that, because the women's platform is important to me, and I know that beauty, there should be more women, right? Leaders in that space. And so the combination it allowed me to work on my passion, while doing something that I really love, which is skincare as well. Mm-hmm. So there are ways for the passion to intersect with how you spend your time. But the most important is don't give up. Like, gotta look for it. And once you find your passion, you realize it gets you're so much better too. You're 200% better in what you're passionate about than when you don't like what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah, your passion shows through tenfold, no matter what you're doing, whether it's in your work life, in your career, or your personal life, it always shows through.
Yeah. So you can always do something, about your passion.
Right. What are some ways, and I love that you said that you love to champion the women's platform. What are some ways that you do that?
So, for me, holding a founder role or a CEO role, it really allowed me to create, opportunities for women. And I saw that as one of my personal goals. So, that's always been really rewarding for me. Mm-hmm. I would say that separately, I'm also on a nonprofit board. Have you heard of Girls Inc.?
I don't know. It sounds very familiar.
Okay. Girls Inc. is
I'll
a
look it up.
nonprofit organization that that helps girls that doesn't have the right financial means to actually reach college because education is so important. And so I'm on that board, and one of the affiliate um, programs are for Girls Inc. in the Bay Area in San Francisco. So that's another way that I help kind of further the women's platform, starting with them
I
being
love
young.
that.
So I think that there's ways that you could find, time to be able to do that.
I love that. What challenges, if any, have you seen as a female founder or a female leader in business?
I think that just throughout being a woman, you're always the only woman, in at the table. But I would say now there has been much more of a focus on getting more women at the table. So I do think that there has been some progress made, but we still have a ways to go. The challenges are you're not as well heard. I think that we've all experienced how you're in a meeting with a group of men, and that you just said what that person just said, and you said it first, and yet they didn't hear you.
Right.
So some of that has always been pretty frustrating, but I try to figure out how to speak kind of the male language in this environment so that could be heard.
Yeah, I love that. What has been one of the most rewarding parts, either about starting Pure Culture Beauty or maybe just being a female founder?
I've spent probably all my career trying to help someone fix something, right? Because when you walk in to any job, somebody else has already started it, and you're going in there to help them be better than what they have been. And the best thing about being a founder is that you get to start from fresh, from a clean slate, right? Exactly. And there is nothing. So you could actually craft the way that you want it. And I think that is the best thing about being a founder, is creating that concept and creating that idea that that you're passionate about, but then at the same time, you don't have to go back and fix it, and you can design the way that you want it to.
Right. That must be really fun. And just to kind of end our conversation here, I want to ask you a question. I take this from one of my favorite podcasts I listen to called How I Built This. But the question is, what percentage of your success so far has been from luck, just kind of being at the right place at the right time? And what percentage has just been pure talent? Or maybe it's been a little bit of a mix of both.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's a great question, actually. I have to remember that. I am a strong believer that everything happens for a reason.
So am I.
And so I would say most of it is because of that. I think a high percentage, I would say almost all of it. Because I think we're all very capable, and there's many capable people out there. And sometimes it's not the right time and not the right opportunity and not the right, just not meant to be.
Right.
So much of it is just based on the opportunity and the time, and everything's meant to be. And it's something that sometimes we can't control. And I think that's one other learning, which is sometimes I think everything happens for a reason. And I think that if I look back at my career, there's so many things I wish I didn't have to do. But with hindsight being 2020, I realized why I had to do it. It made me better.
Right. Exactly. That's a great answer. Well, thank you so, so much for taking the time to talk to me. It was such a pleasure to talk to you and kind of get to know the story behind Pure Culture Beauty. Real quick, before we sign off, where can people find you or maybe the Pure Culture Beauty brand, whether that's on social media or what have you?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram at the handle is Pure Culture Beauty. And then you can also find us on the website, which is also pureculturebeauty.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.